Okay, sorry, the mic wasn't on. Okay, so yesterday we left off. We had our setup service for our relational databases. And we want to create an admin user by default, but we did not implement the create yet. So let's first do that. So the create will always return a user, and we have then create, and this expects a user. Give it a variable name. Then we say implement create. So what do we need to do? Basically, we just need to do user dot find by save and flush. We say converter to db. We pass in the user. It's not an update. And then as well, we need to convert it back. So from db, and it's converted back. So this one will basically create it, and it will work. So what we then need to do is create a test for it. So basically there is one test, and that's it, that we need to do. So let's create a test for it. We say void create underscore success, and so when the user DAO is called and we have the save flush all with any, and then we say user db.class, then return get user db. So we get we say user equals new user. After that we say user equals user service.create with our user, and eventually, because we have the get user by db, our user should not be null, so that's the first check. Not null user, maybe let's call it user result. The result must not be null, and assert equals name, then result dot get name, get username, and this should be green, and then everything is tested for that method. A quick and easy one. Okay, everything is green, so you see now this one will work. So now we can set up our repository. When it's not completely set up, it will run it, and that's basically it. We should test as well this method, but I will do this one offline because it has a lot of mocking with the data sources and stuff. It's not interesting to see. It's not really building the CMS at that point. I will do that one just offline. So basically the flow is the repository set up? Yes or no? No. Okay, set up the repository. When do we need to run this? That's the next thing. So basically we need to run this when we boot up our Spring Boot application. That's when we need to call this. So what I like to do there is something from Spring. I create a listener. So I'll create a new class. I'll put it in the package listener, and we call it application listener. So the application listener implements. Well, I will rename it. Application startup listener. I will call it like that, because what we will implement is the application listener. Application listener, and it expects a generic. We want the application event. Application ready event, sorry. Okay, so now we need to import a method on application event, if ready. Easy enough. On that one, basically we will say if the okay, we need to get the repository service, of course. So with private, let's just do it via the constructor application startup listener, and then we say setup service. Setup service, and then we create a field for it, and we say add autowired. And of course we need to say that this is a component as well, else we don't have the Spring context. So then we have setup service dot is repository setup, and we will need to do it in a try catch. So now we will just print the stack trace and exit. We should find a way to show a better way, but that's when some implementation details as well. Dipox, hi as well. Hi to you. So basically we want our application to exit when it has a repository issue. And then setup service.setup repository. Now when we boot up our application, what will it do? Basically it will check if the repository is set up. If it's not set up, we set it up. And this code lives all in the repository module. So now we have a basic repository here, and we have a user, so we can use this user for our security. But first, let's see if this works. And remember, when we would boot it up now, it won't work, because we said here that we want to load our data source.json. So what do we need to do? We have here our ZCMS with everything in here. So I will create a new folder. I will call it working_dir. This will be our working dir. The goal, basically, in IntelliJ we can set it. Well, I want to edit the configuration. So we can set our working dir from here. So I will set it here, working dir. This and everything of the config. Well, basically this is our resource root at that point on the hard drive. But as well, we need to have an active profile. So we need to have this profile active, because else we could not know what we need to load in. As you remember, here we have our profile RMDBS, and as well we have it on our outer part as well. So now, well, if you now run it, you will see a crash, hopefully. Else we did something wrong, but you will see a crash. See, application failed to start. I don't see here the error is. Error creating bean. Okay, this is something else. It's a little bit worse. Error creating the bean with user service DBS. Unsatisfied dependency. Okay. Which is not so great. So it's saying that it cannot. Yeah. Okay. I see where we went wrong. It's easy to fix. So we go to our config here, and basically it says here it's required a bean named entity manager factory, but we appended bean on there. That way it won't start up because of that error. Okay. What's up next? Okay, now we have our exceptions that I thought we would have. So our config exception, the config.json is not existent because yeah, we do not have one yet. So we'll create a folder called config. And I deleted it. Okay. And we create a new file, data source.json. So basically our data source.json needs to match the data source config. As you can see there, let's do it. So we have our JSON, we have a field database type, which is MySQL. We have a JSON host, which will be local host for me. Then we have a port 3306, I think. I don't know why it expects that it's weird. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Now it's fine. We have the database name, and I already have a database from testing out CMS in another project. So we will ZCMS underscore stream. We will have a use SSL. We will say false. Let me check my other config. Yeah, false. Okay. Then we have a username, and for me it's root, the most secure one. And we have a password, and it's the best password ever, called root. And then we have packages to scan, which is an array. We will leave it empty. So now it can find the file. And let's see if it does, and if it loads in, else we did something wrong, which is also possible. True. Spawn up TV, it's true. You never change the root password. It's not a security flaw in any way. So basically there went something wrong with the parsing of the config file. Unrecognized field user SSL, so we made a typo. Oh, dang it. Use. Okay, we run it again. Now it will boot up, and it will create our dang it. No, I don't like no. Okay, so what is it saying? Error creating bean with the entity management factory. Define the path bean instantiation factory that failed. But why did it fail? Unsupported operation. No. What? Well, code near it. I am Dutch, so well, I live in Belgium, but the Dutch part, so that's why I have a Dutch accent. So you're right. Okay, so basically, why do we have the error? Because our string is empty, which is fine. I don't know, man. Size is 0. Go one down. That moment we have. Okay, let's just. Okay, let's stop dicking around. Array list. No array list, of course. Let's fix this issue, and then we say as well packages to scan dot add all. We have collection and config dot get package to scan. Arrays as list. Push. I think this will work. Thanks for the Dutch sentence, man. Ah, a small error. Come on, please work. I'm looking like a fool over here. Got to love development and debugging. Ah, dang it! Oh! Password encoder could not be found, so that's. Ugh. We have issues all around. Okay. So unknown database Z CMS stream, but I want you to create a database. Can Hibernate create a database, or or does the database needs to exist and it can only create and drop and create tables? Because if the schema already needs to exist, well, we can all as well. Let's Google it. Data source create schema. No. Yeah. No. Well, create database. I will add it to the docs of the CMS that it's. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do in code near it, but it's yeah. I will just do it. I will create a schema already, and if we create docs, we will put it in there. Make sure that the schema is already existing. So we create a schema. We called it zcms underscore stream. Hit apply. Okay, run it again. And of course, the people who are booting this one up, it will be mainly developers. Dang it. What's going on now? Application root to have appears thread named full. Failed to stop. It's likely to create a memory leak. Great. So we have an unsafe park. Oh, great. So in security config you need a password encoder, but it cannot get it. That's my error now. So I think my database is created. Or it even, no, it even did not get that part. Okay. So there's clearly something wrong with my config. And this is it. One small annotation and everything is fine. And then you can see that's why it was weird that in my setup service the password encoder was red, but now it's not. Now you can see that here it created the user table. It created one record and then created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roles for the admin. So this means it basically worked. If we refresh it, we can do select. We see that we have a bcrypt here. We have our username admin, and it's all set up. So that's a good start. So we have basically our repository, our application runs, and our config works as well. So what did we already do with our config? We had our basic security config, so we said that everything needs to be authenticated. Our media routers will be ignored. We have an authentication manager with the user detail service and the password encoder, and we have a bean for it as well. We have CORS configs in there. So now the first part of the OAuth is create the authorization service. So that's the authorization server config. Basically what that will do is it will check what if the user if the credentials are correct first of all, and then it will assign what roles and what it can do, and it will put it all in a JWT token, and the refresh token as well is in there. And yeah, that's basically what we will configure in that one. So I will start this one, and we say it's an authorization config. This one extends authorization server configure. Oh, it doesn't find it. Did we not add the Maven artifact? Well, we wanted it, but okay, let's add it. I thought we did, but apparently I was mistaken. Oh, we added the OAuth. It's the same. We did add it. I'm going crazy, I think. I think I need a version for the OAuth. No. Yeah, we need a version for the OAuth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so why didn't it work? I thought that Spring Boot had a version for everything in that in his BOM. Apparently not. So that's why the stuff did not import. So now it will just import the class and everything's fine. So we will need a few things. We will need our resource ID, which identifies our app basically. We will have a secret. We will have a signing key. Yeah, that's our first part. Let's so those keys are strings, and we want to put it someplace that we can edit them easily. So we will have an application dot properties. So our application dot properties. We will have CMS dot go out to dot resource ID equals, let's call it CMS resource ID, something that developers should change before they put it online. And then we as well have our secret, and we have our signing key. I have some random generated strings ready. Boosh. Boosh. Okay, so we have these. Doesn't matter. So with add value of Spring, we can import them into a variable. So I will first do the private string resource ID, and we say add value, and then we put it like this, and we want this one. We as well have private string secret, private string signing key, I guess, and then we as well do the two add values. Secret, copy paste it, signing key, yeah. Then we have private, well, basically they won't change. Okay, yeah, because we do it with that value, we cannot. So what do we need in this class of beans? The beans we need is our authentication manager. We need our course filter, and lately we need as well a password encoder. Okay, so we create a constructor for these three parameters, and we say add auto wired, and Spring will take care of the rest. Okay, so the first method we will override is the authorization server endpoint configure. So we will configure our endpoint stuff. So we say endpoints dot authentication manager is our authentication manager. Our token services, we'll get there, is another bean, token services. Token store is as well a token store. It's another bean. I really don't know how the insides of all this works. I followed the tutorial for OAuth and it worked like a charm, and I use it always. I know the big picture of it. We have an access token converter bean as well. Okay, so this is basically beans that we have to register. So let's do it. So our first bean is our tokens, token services. Wow. No, we do it last. We will first do the token store. Token store. So basically this is where we will store our token. It's not more than that, and we just return a new JWT token store. and we pass it our access token converter B. Then we will do our access token converter. So we have a public JWT access token converter, and it's an access token converter. So we have a JWT access token converter. We call it converter. We create an instance. We return it, and we say converter.set signing key. So that's the key we will use to sign our tokens, and well, it will basically check it if there is anything wrong with the JWT token. We will catch it and the token will not be valid. And of course we then have a bean, and this one will as well be primary, so we and this is a public default token services. So these are then our token services that we use. Default token services. We have our instance. We return that instance then, and we do some settings. So we set the token store. Default token services. We set our support refresh token on true because we want to be able to create a refresh token. Set token enhancer because we want to enhance the tokens from the basics. We want it to be signed, so we set signing key. Default token structure set access token validity in seconds. For now we use an hour. So our token is basically okay for an hour long, and then we need to refresh it before an hour. So that's our first. So and this endpoint configures, well, basically the endpoints, it's the /token endpoints from Spring OAuth. And basically we say there, use this authentication manager bean, use these token services, use this store, use this converter. So Spring internally can implement it like they have to. The next method to override is the authorization service security configurer. So this one. And here we say we have I don't like the name security, so we will say OAuth server dot password encoder. So we will set our password encoder for our OAuth server. We say token key access. So now we need to define roles on who can get keys and check keys, and this is basically just some has authority. And then we say role trusted client. And as well we duplicate it, and we have our check token access. So the role trusted client can as well do the token access, and we will get back to that role in time. Now we have add token endpoint authentication filter, and here is our course filter, of course. Okay. Then the last method and the biggest one we need to override is then of course the client. So here we will define the client that can access our endpoints to get a token or refresh a token. Because our app, well, basically we connect to localhost 4200 always, because we will the API and the front end should live on the same server. That's why we will package it in one big jar. That makes it that we can create the clients in memory. So basically we have clients in memory. So you can have another user detail service to get clients and stuff, but we don't need it for this app. So we have a client app, and this has authorized grant types. So that's the grant types that you can authorize with. You have client credentials, password, refresh token. You have another one. I forgot. Allowed to grant types. Let's see. So implicit resource. Oh, dang it, difficult word. So yeah, we have a resource owner. That's the password one. Then you have the client credentials, which is just the client. You have the refresh token to refresh, and implicit is that you go to a third party, for example Facebook or stuff. Does it that you see the screen that you really need to click it? That's that one. Okay, so here for our app we have password and refresh token. And the authority it has is role client. But what do we want? Yeah, we can get it from our roles to string. And then I think we need to say this one. I will close the window quickly. Okay. Then we need to define the scopes that this client has. So the scopes, it can read and it can write. And then we say the resource IDs. We have one resource ID. Resource ID. Then we need again to set the validity in seconds. It's an hour. Then the secret is password encoder.encode and the secret key. So the secret is as well encoded. So we want another client, so we do AND with client, and we call this public. We have authorized grant types, so client credentials. So this public we will use for getting tokens, well, for getting a public token. Why do we use public tokens? For parts you don't have to be logged in for. That's when we use public tokens, but it's still basically on the API not public because you need to have the token first. So it has the authorities. Why is our dot there? It's not okay. So role public dot string. It has the same scopes as above and the same validity and the same secret. So we will copy paste it, and that's it. Our authorization config is almost done. almost forgot again. We need to have a configuration annotation and enable authorization server. Sorry. So let's see, run it again. I think it will add already some endpoints, and it logs it so you guys can see it. I need as well to do some updates. Firefox, don't care. Okay, nice. We have errors. So in our access converter, we have sign key, set sign key. Wow. We have Google. Looks like we need to bring JWT. Yeah. Okay, we need this one to be imported and then it will work, I guess. Weird that the OO doesn't import it itself, but okay. Let's run it again. Well, that's not great. So yeah, now you can see it added some endpoints of OAuth. So OAuth authorize, OAuth token, OAuth check token, confirm access, OAuth error, OAuth token key. We will use the post of the token. Basically, that's the endpoint we will use. The rest we won't use really. So now we can have our token back from our server already. So that's something, but not all. We as well need to configure the resource server. The resource server basically it checks the token, it checks if it can handle if everything is correct, and then gives back the resource that you asked for. So we create another config, resource config, and right off the bat it's a configuration. We enable resource server, and the resource config extends the resource server configure adapter. So we again need our private string resource ID, and we will use our add value to get it. Needs to be string in there. So our resource ID. Then we have a default token services bean. And we have a private final token store. So it knows how to fetch it. We add the constructor parameters there, and we put add auto-wired, and it gets these beans from the authorization config. So we will as well create something that we can use in the future, which I also as well always do. Now it might seem pointless, but it's great use for debugging as well, some stuff. Class OAuth request matcher implements request matcher. Okay. And for now it is returns true. So what does this class now say? It basically says, okay, yeah, okay, every endpoint you have matches it, that one that we need secured with OAuth. But for example, we have media routes. We could and for media routes we already had the web ignoring end manager. But for example, we want to extend our application with another type of security as well. With some certain endpoints with security, we can then have the matcher here that says true or false, and then it handles it. So first thing we need to do is we will, basically we will configure our resource server. Resource server. So we have a resource ID. We have a token services. And we have our token store. And that's it for config for this method. Then we have our our HTTP security. So again, we will have a bit of duplicates from our security config, but it needs to load it in. The resource server as well needs it. So yeah, let's start. HTTP dot. We have a request matcher. No, request. No, request matcher. Then we have our form login dot disable. We have our anonymous disabled. Yep. We have our C. CSRF cross-site scripting thingy disabled. We have a course dot, and then we say and. Then we have all our end matchers. We did not add it here, but it will be here. So we will need to add all this stuff to that one, to that, yeah. And it needs to have the role and yeah. It's some work, but okay. So we have add matchers, HTTP methods dot options. We need to permit it all. Permit. Yeah, we need to do authorize request matchers. Permit all. Then we have our end matchers, and then we have our public score media routes. We import it statically, and we as well permit it all. This part is a real one. And then basically we need to say, okay, for these we need to be admin. For this you need to have the just those roles, and it's not fun to do, but okay. So let's start here. So admin routes get why did we yeah has role, and then we say role dot admin dot admin. We put it to string. So now it needs to have that role, and then we need to do it for post. Well, basically put a star there, and that up. And we have a put. And we have a get. And I see I made a mistake in my other file. It needs to be put instead of patch. So we will copy paste this. And then in this part, we'll add a space to make it more clear. Say R, and we want admin changed with, and I made a mistake first. Yeah. Okay. First do this, delete. Okay. So now we have all the routers. So we select this. We do a find replace. Admin, and then we want to change it with author. Replace. Okay. Let's do it again. Find and replace. We want to replace admin with DOM manager. And it's the last one. We say we want to replace with public. And that's that. And we need to add one more small thing. We say and matcher, so basically all the routers needs to be authenticated. So if anyone has questions about what we just did, just tell me, because this can seem a bit overwhelming. Let's put it like that. We don't have endpoints yet, but I can show you guys yeah, if it still runs, basically. I cannot show you more. And it doesn't. So guys in chat, basically if you have questions, feel free to ask. I will gladly answer them the best I can. So role, since it's automatically that's the has role stuff. I really don't like the has role method because it will And is there another method that we can do it? Will automatically add role there. Really? Really? Dang it. Okay, I'll do a find replace. Then we have author. We replace it with author. And we have that's something that Spring could have done better in my point of view. Because if you look at the code, it checks if it starts with it and then throws an error. Just check if it's not starting with it and add it, and that's it. That, yeah, man, who am I? public. Replace all. Okay. Nice. So let's try it again. Bam bam ba. Ba ba da ba da. Okay. We still booted up, so that's working. Yeah. So basically, I think I can open Postman up. Let me check. I already have a project there from my older one, which I now started again, but doing a little bit better, but it has the same stuff. So we have outdoor, and then we want a token. So this one is the app, and it has that password, and that it's from the application properties. And basically, where will it come into in our authorization? It's this one. So in our header, in our body, we have our grant type, we have our username and password, and then it will fetch the token. Let's see. And we have a token. So I can show you what's in that token. You can see here it expires in an hour. Read write GTI. So what's in that token? I can show you. So if you go to jwt.io, then you have a good decode stuff. So you can see now what's in the payload, and that's the most important part. So we have our resource ID in there, we have our username, we have our scopes, our authorities, GTI. I don't know what it does, to be honest. If someone could enlighten me, gladly. And we have our client ID, which is app. Yeah. What can I say? This just works. It's just doing config, but now we as well tested that our user detail service works and all that stuff. So it goes correctly to the database, checks the users, and it finds the user, then returns the token, and in the token is a username as well. And the username is good enough as an ID because the username is unique. So basically, we did some backend work, which is fun. Let's maybe first do some hit stuff. So this is not so interesting, of course, to show. I will do it offline. I will do it after the stream. I will commit all the code with all the repositories, because we will create multiple repositories for every parent. So we will have an outdoor repository. There will be a publish as well. We have a core. We have a repository. We have a utils. Yeah, this will be different Git repositories. So let's start building a client, and then we can really see something. So I will use, of course, already what is given to me, and what is given to me is a nice dashboard called core -UI. So this core UI, it's pretty neat, and it has an Angular 2 plus template. So I set it up in my other project, and I will just do some copy paste work. That's what we need, basically. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I should show the demo, the core UI. For Angular demo. Oh, it's download. Live preview, sorry. So yeah, it looks pretty neat. It has some buttons and stuff as well. I'm not a front-end guy, so I'm not that great in it in LES or SAS or whatever you want to use. I can use it a little bit, and that's it. So first in our package.json, we're using Angular 6. This is as well important. We won't go lower than Angular 6 because we will use Angular elements as well in our CMS. Yeah. So we will import some stuff. Yeah, okay. I will as well. I will do the npm install so we have the latest version inside this thingy, and then you can see which we do. So we have an npm install dash save because we want to save it. What do we have of dependencies? We have bootstrap. We have chart.js. We have core-ui. We have a crypt. That's not needed yet. We have flag-icon-css. We have font awesome, which is awesome. We have moment. We have ng2 charts. We have ngx bootstrap. We already have RxJS in there. We have simple line icons. We have TS helpers. And install. Did I make a mistake? Who knows? Nice. Worked. So IntelliJ refresh my file. No, thank you. It's indexing. Yeah, now we have our node modules is way bigger. Yeah. So we have some warnings. When it's done indexing, we can continue our journey. Indexing. Added Nginx Bootstrap 3. Nice. I'm sure it will work. So I thought I used the dash save. Do I need to use it at the end? No. Really? I don't know. I don't get why we need to add the dash save. It doesn't save it to. What's wrong? Now it should be in my package.json. Okay, yeah, okay, I know where it's saved. It's here. So yeah. Let's delete that. Let's do a cd outro-client. Run it again. And now it will work. Okay. So being in the wrong folder, good mistake. Yeah, it's in there. Okay, nice. Good job. Okay, so we'll start from the get-go. In our index.html, we will already paste some stuff. I will as well. It's Angular CLI part. Is it Angular? Yeah. I want my prefix to be ZCM's author. We will need to update this one. Hi Marillo, author, and we as well need to update this one. Okay. Oh, we need to update everything. So I will copy paste some stuff so it will just work. It's all from the core UI, so it's not really that interesting. But yeah, basically this is some explanation for the classes, and these are the classes we want. Yeah. So then we go right into our app. Yeah. So basically we will have different layouts. So we will need to split it up. And it's a bit somewhere tricky, but okay. So we will have basically a layout for an empty layout. That's nothing there, to create full pages that look different. And we will have a layout that's the basic admin layout thing. Yeah. So let's start create the layout. So in our amp we create a new directory. Yeah, maybe just add a new module with Angular CLI. Here we add module, and we say we add the layout module. So it creates a spec which I don't need. So this is our layout module. It has the common module. It will have a router module. It will have. Okay, yeah, it's a bit. Now we need to set up everything. We will create already another. We will already create two other modules. So we first create a module called shared. And basically in this module, what will be there? Shared components that over everything is shared. A directive, pipes, but also services, models, utils. It's all in the shared module package. Then we have another module called structure. And basically the structure module generated component will hold the basic yeah, structure of our project. So module structure, we add it. Let's maybe, yeah. Let's implement this one so you guys can see what it is. So basically, if you see the UI, we have a header, we have a nav bar, we have another bar here, we have all the way at the bottom a nice footer. Yeah, so we will basically create components for this in the structure module, and so we can use it in our layout module. So let's start with the header. We have a component header. By the way, I will not unit test front-end code. I believe to writing functional tests afterwards. That's the front end. Yeah, it's a bit too much work for me too. So basically, this is all code I set up. This one, I will just put in the HTML and then you see what we need to implement. So basically, we need mobile left sidebar toggler and right sidebar toggler. It's easy. You just copy paste the methods, and you will see it's document query selector, and yeah, this is all stuff that's already done for me by the core UI developer. So why should I do it again? I just copy pasting stuff that works. So let's do the footer then. Yep. So we say here in our CLI component footer. Okay, we open HTML, and that's the only thing because it's nothing special. Bam. It's our footer. Good enough. So next up we have two sidebars. Let's start with the left sidebar. Check. Yeah, this as well has a toggler. So I'll copy paste the HTML first. So you can, yeah, you have here a toggler. This is some info for directives and stuff. Yeah, it's just again from the other thing. This is then the router links. These are items that we can show. Yeah, we need to add the router module as well. I forgot it. So we have here the router module. And we will as well need to export every component. So we have the left side by toggler. Yeah, it's nothing complicated. It's just a public method. So the left sidebar here. So that's our toggler. It's just setting some classes on the body. So what else do we need? We have a right sidebar. And for now it doesn't have a toggler of some sort. We will always use it. So we have right sidebar push. We will copy paste some HTML in there. So in here we say push. That's it. So for our structure module, we need to export all these components. Okay, so basically we have our structure component. So and then in the middle is all the contents you can ask for, which is basically the Angular app itself. So in our layout module, we need our structure module and as well our shared module, because we use it everywhere. So we will have an empty layout, and it will surprise you how non-impressive it is. So basically we have an empty layout component, empty dash layout. Okay, so that's our empty layout component, and in the HTML we are going to add just router outlet, and that's it. That's our empty layout. Easy. Then we have a new component. That's our main layout, and that's a little bit more impressive, but not that much. So so if you guessed it, we have here, if we scroll back to the top, of course, here we have our breadcrumbs. These should come from our URL. So we will develop it, and we will it's some custom stuff with the router. This one is some actual development we need to do, but yeah, we will split our URL to have these breadcrumbs. So MTC473 asked the question. So I'm not with mood. So I have a question. Well, basically, Vaadin, it's all server-side rendered at that point. Why do we use JavaScript frameworks? Because basically we load in the page once and then we only change what needs to be changed, and not when we click a button to submit something, we submit the whole page. That's not what we do. We do not refresh the page, it's not needed to. Which makes that we don't need to load in all the CSS and the libraries again, which make the site a bit faster and more responsive. So basically, if you want to use Vaadin, yeah, you can do it. I never used it because yeah, it's basically Swing for the web, and I wouldn't. I don't see the purpose to use Swing for web when you have already proven technologies that are non-Java related. I think Java is not there for the web. Java is there for enterprise stuff, for servers, for backends, but not for the web, and that's why there is JavaScript. And yeah, just use JavaScript, basically, in my opinion. I hope I answered your question there. Yeah, so yeah, to basically the question, yes, JavaScript frameworks are more popular than Java UI frameworks. Absolutely. So in our main layout, we need to do some injections. So we have a private router. We have our activated route. Router route. It's route. We have a private router. And we as well have a change detector. Change detector. This is because we do some routing stuff in and we subscribe to it. Yeah, we need to do it. So we will have a public variable, breadcrumbs. This will be a breadcrumb item. We need to create a class, by the way. And it's an array, and we initialize array to empty. So let's create our a directory called models. And then we create a TypeScript file called bread.crumb.item. Export class breadcrumb item. To public read only name string equals null. Wow. Don't initialize it yet. We have clickable, which is a boolean. Yep. And then we have URI string. Don't initialize it. We create a constructor. We say name string. Clickable. And then URI. Those two are optional. So we say this dot name equals name. This dot clickable equals clickable or false. This dot URI equals URI or null. Okay. So now we come to here, we can import it. Close it again. So now what we need to do is say this dot router dot events dot subscribe. We have our data. I don't know what it prepares an observable of event. Okay. So let's see event. I don't know if it's the DOM version or it's dang it, man. Yeah, okay. I will not type it. I will type it any. So basically, if event instance of activation done, I think, and sorry, activation end and data dot snapshot dot router config.path mod equals an empty string event. Then we say this dot breadcrumbs equals data dot snapshot dot event dot snapshot dot data dot breadcrumbs. And these breadcrumbs will basically be configured in our router config, router config. So yeah, it will all make sense in a moment. And then we say change detector dot detect changes, and that's it. But I see something I don't like, so I will create a new class, and I will call base.component. So that's our base component. What will be in the base component? Basic stuff that we need to do a lot. So we say export abstract class base component, and it implements on destroy. So there is something with RxJS and yeah, not destroying observables and when it should. So we will do it for yeah, Angular doesn't destroy them. So ng unsubscribe subject boolean no subject, but it's not okay that it's from there. Huh? From where should we import it again? RxJS no import. Yeah, RxJS changed a lot of imports, so I don't know it on top of my head anymore. So we need to import it from here. So I was right. What? Why doesn't it work? Let me open the project. Where I played with Angular and RxJS 6. Sorry, I have phone. Yo. Ik zit thuis, ja. Ja, er is wel niks in huis om te drinken, hè. Er is wel niks in huis om te drinken. Ik ga wel moeten teleurstellen. Ja, zo. Oh. Ja, dank u. Oké, ja, wanneer zit je hier? Ja, oké. Ça va, cool. Ja. Yo, sweet. Okay, so I don't see how it should work. Oh, dang it. That was the wrong one. Why doesn't it import from there? I want it. I need it. Yeah, okay. So we open it. I will Google it. Angular 6 import from import server. Mm-hmm. What? It knows it now? Are you serious? So if I delete it, I do a new import, it goes from the eternal. How can I not have that? Oh, you should blacklist it, no? Yeah, I really don't see what's going on. Cannot be excluded. Oh, it finds it now, but what? Huh. IntelliJ sometimes it's not okay. Let's see. So what is it saying? Settings. Here. JavaScript libraries. Add. Org.js. This one. Dash directory. So we have our author client node modules. Org.js. Nice. Okay. And does it work? No. Ah. Okay guys, I will stop the stream here and I will figure it out offline, and see that everything is working, because this is I guess real boring to watch. So yeah, basically we want that IntelliJ imports it correctly, so the observable and stuff, but it doesn't. It just doesn't at the moment. So well, I will try to fix it, and yeah, I will maybe stream later this evening or night, or I will stream tomorrow. See you guys. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to follow. This video is as well on Twitch and on YouTube. You can watch it again. You can always private message me for more info about just programming in general. See you guys.